Nyasayo kunyi ogoli masira seche duto te alwongi usimna alwongi wololo ipondo kanyi jomo heri berangi joma rangi to heri gik malawi beluwi joma luwi belawi jomo heri berangi joma rangi to heri.
Oh yes, you are familiar to that African voice. I would say the goddess of African music, who is actually doing a lot of things in the diaspora, not only out of the country, but also within the country. I know those who are in Kisumu, Dala, can, quickly sing to those songs and enjoy the morning with me on set. But of course, Nina Ogot, I have wanted to host her forever. And today I was like, before you leave the country, yeah, for yet another tour, please, make Look Up TV part of your tour. And she's, of course, a Kalasha Award-winning Afro-acoustic artist who is, of course, giving insight on her musical journey today right here on the Untitled. And also, she has one famous saying. I think she once, said it. I'm just going to probe her to say it. I don't know if she has a famous thing. I'm just trying to create that mood. Let's see if she's going to be in the vibe. But Nina, it's so good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are such a star. You don't even know yet. But how many people grow up every day listening to your music and relating with it, especially the fact that it's vernacular? Do you ever think of that?
Yeah, I mean, when you make music, it comes with the territory, I must say. I think you can never underestimate how much impact you have and in what generation that impact goes. Music goes long term. You can make a song today and the seeds of that song only mature many, many years after you. So you can never underestimate the impact.
You can never underestimate the impact. And I'm just looking at how many years you have been in the industry. I know one thing about you is the number of awards you have been able to grab, including the Kalasha Awards. So the amount of impact, also how many years, because that might also help us realize how much impact.
Yeah, I launched my first album in 2008. So it's over almost 15 years, actually.
Wow.
Almost 15 years. And I think most people shy away from this path because it takes time. It's the path, it's the long, hard road to success, let's say.
Yes.
And so most people want the easier, faster highway, which isn't this one.
Which isn't this one, my goodness, it isn't. And all this time you smile in your music, and we don't see the difficult sides of it, which of course I don't even want to concentrate on today. Today we're just celebrating artists like you who have been able to, thrive in diaspora, especially with the African nature and heritage and culture. First, I want to ask you why you decided that, the Swahili, there's English. In fact, you're very eloquent. But I'm going to maintain, the Luo. As my style of music.
Yeah, I mean, I use different languages. My first album, there was Kiswahili, there was even French, because I speak French as well.
Oh, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Ça va?
Ça va bien?
Oui, oui, oui.
So there's French, there's Kiswahili, and there was hardly any Luo, actually, none in my first album. Yeah. But this idea came with the producer who was making my first album, and he said, you're a Luo woman, why not explore that? And at first I was like, I'm not sure, because yes, I speak the Luo, but somehow my environment is not the environment where I thought the Luo would thrive in art. But then, so he encouraged me to write my first song, and I did, and that was a song called Amor. And so many, many years now, 15 years or 13 years later, I sing Amor. But it was let's say, the trigger. It's what ushered me into trying to explore more about my culture and expressing myself using the Luo.
And Amor means?
I'm happy.
I'm happy.
It means I'm happy, yeah.
Do you ever find, reception, like people who actually say, yo, we don't understand your music, and how do you actually, receive that? Yeah,
a lot of, I perform out of Kenya, where the Luo is not even known. Most people don't even know what Luo is. So it's not just introducing the language, it's introducing the entire culture and concept of what Luo is. Yes, so people, even within Kenya, of course, not everybody's a Luo, and people wonder what it is I sing about. And just the other day, we were having, some of my band members are from Europe, so they were wondering, you know, we've performed with you all these, you know, we've had different stages, but what do you sing about?
They are actually your band members, and they're like, what do you sing about?
What are your songs about? So I feel proud anyway, because these are people who come from different places. I speak French, they don't speak the Luo. So it's my job to educate them and to teach them this language. And I take it proudly.
And I think it's a plus.
Yeah, I think so.
Even for Kenya and for, you know, culture, because you do realize that the GDP, and this is just a by the way, also relies a lot on tourism. And culture is rich, especially in Kenya and in Africa. And I was curious about your journey, having wanted to pursue music. You know, let's go back a little bit into Nina Ogo's story and experience. And I read somewhere, so I'm here to actually prove it, if it is right or not, that for a while there you were not able to get a school that offered music in its curriculum.
Correct.
And why didn't you give up then?
Yeah, because first I was very young, and I was in a public school, which I appreciate a lot. You know, there were good things and challenging things about being in a public school. One of them was that extracurricular activities like music and art and maybe acting or things like that were not really prominent. We used to act, we used to sing, we used to be on stage, but I felt that I wanted it a bit more. And so I asked my parents to take me to a different school. So I changed schools. I went to Msongari Primary School, and there I was able to do music as an extracurricular. And also it was interesting because it was almost a culture shock. When I went to Msongari, I realized that people had started music way much earlier than I. You know, I arrived then in class 5, but standard 1 or whatever, people were already playing instruments and things like that. So I was kind of late. But nonetheless, I appreciate it. And I would encourage schools to introduce this. Right now, I know my daughter is, she's doing music in school, but it's very theoretical.
Okay. So it's not as practical as you expect it to be.
Exactly. So I see a lot of books, a lot of words in there, but I'm like, so when do they start, you know, like playing or singing or whatever it is?
Wow, and I hope parents are watching, because look at Nina today. and there was something about the passion. You said, you know what, if it's got to be me moving to another school, then so be it.
Yeah, and you know, I think sometimes kids, I can't say I was that kid who always knew what I wanted, but maybe I just had the courage to say, you know, I would really like to do this, and my parents were supportive enough. And maybe that's all you need. I don't think kids know everything about their life from day one and how it's going to roll out. Nobody knows that. But they can maybe have an inkling. Like now my daughter, for example, says, you know, I'm not a musician. I'm like, okay. you know, maybe she knows that already. I don't know, you know, and I have put her in school, tried to encourage her to make music, but there's still very little interest. So maybe it will come later. Maybe she's right. Maybe she's not a musician.
You know, I wanted to ask about something personal, and I'm like, no, maybe towards the end. The balance. Everyone thinks, how does she balance traveling all over, taking care of the motherhood, you know, stuff, and also being a successful, you know, musician? But let's talk about making the music work in diaspora.
Yeah, that's just one step at a time. First, you wake up in the morning and make music every day, and you make a decision to make this music. And
you're intentional.
And so, and also, you know, once you've made music, I have played a lot in Nairobi. It's only recently that I started going to Kisumu. Maybe you saw that I felt now that I had kind of established the Luo side of music and built myself enough as an artist that maybe I could now dare to go to Kisumu and sing to them in the Luo there and see what their reception was, which was fantastic. But so, and they always say, somebody sent me a message on social media saying, how is Europe? But what they really meant was, how was Kisumu?
Oh yes, apparently that's it. And Luopines.
Yeah, exactly, Luopine. And people have now branded my music Luopine because I sing the Luo and I play with Europeans, some Europeans in the band.
It actually fits.
It matches. And so when I went to Kisumu, you know, I think the reception was much, much better than I would have ever anticipated. But I think that comes with time, and it's taken me 15 years to actually say, now I can go to Kisumu. And so when it comes to crossing the boundaries, going above and beyond Kenya, I've gone to Uganda, South Africa, whatever. But now Europe is, let's say, the new frontier.
Okay.
And trying to see what can come out of it now.
We are trying to see it with you.
Thank you.
We are really, you know, the fact that you crossed the border to Uganda and, you know, just exploring music in diaspora already is a challenge to me and every other artist that is watching. So please talk to me on Facebook. We are live at Look Up TV. I'd like to know if there are any other artists who are doing what Nina does and what their experiences are, right? So talk to me, leave your comments, and also if you want to make any requests, I don't know if she's open to, you know, doing something for you on air. Let's find out as it goes. One thing that I wanted to talk about is most of the times we have seen the likes of Susan Uwio, you know, yourself. I think it was Eric Wainaina. When you do such African music, it seems to really work better for you guys abroad. You know, people say music doesn't pay much, especially in Kenya. I do not know. We kind of play a lot of Nigerian music, bongo, you know, and it's been a question of why are we not enjoying our original, you know, style of music. And I'd like to hear that from you, having, you know, experienced Kenya, you know, Nairobi, and now moved to Kisumu and across borders.
I think people do enjoy local music. What is missing is exposure. And I think the challenge has also been to get airplay. You know, when I play vernacular music, the response I always get is, you can only fit in this vernacular channel. Whereas my music is played in Germany, where they have no idea what I'm even singing about. But they promote authentic African music. And so irrespective of what you're saying, it's the richness in the sound and the richness in the lyrics and all that, they appreciate it all. So here my impression has been that on the ground, people appreciate the music. I went to Kisumu assuming that people in Kisumu won't be interested, but I was surprised at how much interest there is and how much people tell me, you know, why can't we hear your music on radio? Why? So the interest is there, and I think just the media that has this power, like you and other stations on TV or on radio, and doing what you're doing for me, can continue to extend that hand of grace to other artists and just allow them to be authentic and authentically Kenyan. And also I think there's this pressure, you know, people, one time I worked with an artist and they said to me, you know, what if Beyonce asked you to sing? Would you? And I thought, I would sing, but I wouldn't sing like Beyonce, because there's only one Beyonce. Nobody needs me to be another Beyonce. And further, I don't think they need me to be a Beyonce that comes from Africa. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So the best I can be is Kenyan, because that's all I know. Beyonce, the best she can be is American. And so even when they give us this platform on radio, they should allow Beyonce to be there. I have no problem. But they should also allow Nino Got and other authentic Kenyan musicians to thrive on radio. Yeah, it should be a kind of a 50-50, even more than 50-50.
More than 50-50, it's your own.
Exactly, you know, I highly, if I went to America right now, I don't think they'd give Kenyan music as much prominence as we give American music or Western music on their airwaves. So it's us to look at ourselves and say, is this really the direction if we want to nurture culture?
And I like how you put me on the spot right in front of you. And saying on the ground people enjoy it, but local, like media shouldn't. I'm thinking, okay, Nina, just challenge me for now. But of course, I want to also challenge the rest of the media, you know, personalities and platforms that we have to, like you said, allow Beyonce to be.
Correct.
Allow Davido to be. In all their authentic nature and uniqueness, and Nino God and Susan Uwio in their own uniqueness, and that's quite a challenge. And now I want to, you know, just take a look at what it takes to actually produce, you know, vernacular music. You know, there's a bit of, you cannot do auto-tunes, can you?
If you like,
want to be authentic.
Auto-tune is for anybody. You know, it's just, it's like using Photoshop or using MS-DOS.
Doesn't that kill the authenticity? Or what are we trying to actually achieve in authentic cultural, you know, or I don't know how to call that.
One thing we must embrace is new technology.
All right.
I personally don't use auto-tune, but if another artist feels that this is what enhances their craft, I would say by all means do it. If that's this, you are the artist, you know, you're the one who decides how you want to expose your universe, you know, and if auto-tune is the gadget you need, use it to the maximum.
You know, the reason why I asked you that, Nina, is I have really observed that most of, artists like you, including one, Atemi, I do not know if you know Atemi.
Certainly, Atemi is a good friend of mine as
well. She has that African authentic, presence as well. And it's been such, a catchy part for me to pick that you guys are always in your most natural. And I'm wondering, could this be one of the reasons you don't get that in the West? There's been a lot of technology, right? So I've been asking myself, could this be one of the tips of thriving in diaspora when it comes to originality and, being authentic and natural? Are you just melodious?
Yeah, I think first, talent. In whatever shape, size, or form it comes, there's a space for you if you have a gift for it, It's one thing to try and be a musician if you're not, but it's another thing to be a musician, and then it's another thing to be an authentic musician. So authenticity is certainly, I would say, number one, because if you're unique, then people identify that as this is different, This is not just another copy-paste of something we've already seen and heard. So this is new, and this is authentic. And of course, I think for me, the punchline is if you can use your cultural authenticity in your craft. I mean, it's just an added advantage. I don't think it's a disadvantage. And I see this a lot, like in the diaspora, where the artists that brace these platforms, if they're not Kenyan or African or Asian or wherever they come from, it's their cultural identity that puts them there. That's number one. So as much as Kenyans want to emulate other kinds of styles of music, it's important to realize that your culture is what puts you on that platform. Really.
Especially in diaspora.
Especially,
And I'm now, curious. I want to, ask you who your role models are. I don't know if Lokua Kanza is one of them or still is. The Nigerian Arthur.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So
interesting.
There are more, and why? Why did you pick them now?
It's actually interesting that you mentioned these two names. When Lokua Kanza, my first experience with him was I was studying in France for a number of years, and when it dawned on me that I wanted to be a musician, one of my friends, who's also Congolese, introduced me to Lokua Kanza. He was like, "Have you heard this guy?" And I played his song, and it was love at first sight. I can say this is one of the musicians that I've listened to their music, and maybe it's instant connection. And then, so I looked at the guitar he was playing, because I was playing guitar, but very little. And I looked at his guitar and I was like, that's the guitar I need. And so I ordered a guitar just like his. So anyway, long story short, he's a huge inspiration. And Asha, I discovered also, I used to work on Radio France International, and she wasn't known here much, but Radio France had this huge catalog of musicians from across Africa. And so I clicked on A, because her name started with A, and I was like, let me start with A. And Asha was the first. She was the first on the list. And when I clicked it, I was like, I can't believe it. Like, we have all these amazing musicians who you don't necessarily hear on radio, but they exist. They exist, and they take their culture and utilize it how they please as artists. And they're such huge role models.
That explains a lot to me right now. And of course, I want to allow you guys to have a feel of Nina Ogo's music. I am going to be choosing Dala.
Oh, nice.
Because we're talking about them creating home away from home. Not forgetting, I will challenge her to be a bit silly with me on set. I'm just really going to push so hard, guys. If it doesn't work for me, be kind and be nice. I'm also going to hope that she ought to have come with her guitar, so you guys would feel, her music better. But let me try and speak with her off air, if we can surprise you with her melodious voice after you take a look at this music. This was a live performance called Dala. Take a look.
mang'eny, awuothe pinje mang'eny, to piny maber e dala, aneno gik mang'eny, apuonjo joma mang'eny, awero wende mang'eny, to wer mamit e dala, tera dala, chunya gombo dala, wuoth wadhi o dala, anawero dala, tera dala, chunya paro dala, wuoth wadhi o dala, anaywago dala. Parona en mana achiel, chunya bende en mana achiel, to dalawa be mana achiel. Adwaro dala ngimani en mana achiel, seche man go wuok mang'eny, omiyo adwaro reto dalawa, areto dala. Parona mana achiel, chunya bende en mana achiel, to dalawa be mana achiel. Adwaro dala ngimani en mana achiel, seche man go wuok mang'eny, omiyo adwaro reto dalawa. Tera dala, chunya gombo dala, wuoth wadhi o dala, anaparo dala, tera dala, chunya ywago dala, wuoth wadhi o dala, anaparo dala. Dala, 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 dala. Anawero dala, 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 dala. Chunya pako dala, 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 dala. Kacharingo dala, 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 dala. Oh, wadhi o dala. Tera dala, chunya gombo dala, wuoth wadhi o dala, anawero dala, ingwareche dalawa, wuoth wadhi o dala, ingwareche dala. Wadhi o dala,
Nina Ogot. Wuoth wadhi e dala. Really, Nina? And then you're singing this. Was this a song you did far away from home?
Yeah, well, I wrote it here,
yes,
but it was in reference to my experience having lived away from home.
All right, tell us more.
So, yeah, I was a student in France for 4 years, over 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so I'm well aware how it feels when you miss home. Even when you're having a good time, you know, there's always this feeling that you miss your people and you miss just the same old stuff that you know. Your comfort zone. And so Dala is like a comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was written here, but many years after I had lived out of Kenya. Yeah.
It's like you envisioned the feeling you'd have. I mean, I'm just kidding.
Just the memories. You know how I felt when I lived in a foreign land, and the emotions that come, you know, when you really want to go home. Because I say, Wotwadi, let's go home.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go home. And the song is urging whoever's listening to come to my home, come and see my home.
Yes.
And so even when you try and make another home elsewhere, there's always that home that your heart knows. So home is where the heart is, basically.
Home is where the heart is. And I know most of us can relate with that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would then be asking, you know, when you are, you know, because we see a lot of you Kenyans having a good time, because that's what you've said.
Yeah.
So even as much as you see you guys are having a good time, you miss home. And when you're thriving in diaspora, you still have
you still miss home
at heart.
Yeah, exactly.
So most of your songs, are they your experiences? You know, are they things you have gone through? What really, because Dala, you know, for example, is actually something you wrote, but you actually didn't write it before you experienced it. You get to experience it after you have written it. So are most of your songs an experience or what you see around? Yeah,
it's both. It's a little of both. My third album, which is Dala, that's my most current album, I would say is mostly about myself, even my second album. But I try to get experiences from people to see what they're experiencing and maybe put it into my own words. And a lot of it is just me living my life and expressing it through song.
Nina, are you always in an African outfit?
No. Not even. You know, most of the time I wear my normal jeans and t-shirts.
Yeah.
But I have my days when I want to look African and feel it, like today.
Brown skin girl. You know why I started saying that? It's because for some reason there is something about Africa, and I want to ask you one of the fun questions, because people know your story. It's online, so I don't want to go around your story much.
Okay.
But I'm celebrating you as one of the artists that's actually thriving in diaspora. And if I would ask you which is your best animation, and you can never ever get tired of watching it.
An animation?
Yes. Oh, please don't break my heart, Nina. Please say the one I want you to say.
Does it have to be an African animation or any animation?
No. In fact, the one I am looking at is, I don't want to give you a clue.
Yeah.
Any animation, especially the one that you watched long, long before, and you can still watch it today and the day after. Oh,
my goodness. Now, because I have a daughter, we're constantly watching animation. I know all the most recent animation series, I know them.
So here is a clue. Yeah. I'm talking about one that has lived longer.
One that has lived longer.
And I can't wait to see your reaction when I actually drop it.
I'm lost. I have no idea. Not an African animation.
It wasn't fully African.
Give me a clue. Like,
no.
Where does it start?
Maybe we should hear from the viewer if they have the clue.
Okay.
But I could drop.
Yeah.
Hakuna Matata.
Oh, Lion King. Oh my God.
How wouldn't you know that? You know, but of course I was just being silly with you. And there's something about fusing, you know, let's go back now to the musical part of life.
Okay.
Fusing the how do you call it? The instruments with you know, our African instruments, because you play with a European band.
Yes.
But they're able to fuse that, even with your guitar, your keys. It's, I don't know, I feel a bit of the African, that's why it's a fusion.
Correct.
How do you make this very successful?
First, you know, if you want to fuse music, I think you have to first determine what is the fundamental sound that you don't want to lose, the sound that you want to highlight and the one that should always carry the music. And of course I write, I'm the writer of the music.
Oh,
and
you write?
Yes, I'm the writer and I'm the singer. So I'm the one who kind of directs the foundation of the music. Everything else that comes around it is just to add color and spice, you know, it's like food. You make your stew and then you decide, do I want to add pepper or chili?
Seasoning it.
The season, exactly. The seasoning is what the Europeans and the band members add.
Okay.
And you can say, I'm the sauce.
Ooh, too much sauce.
I'm the sauce, I'm the stew, and they're the seasoning. Yeah.
Amazing, and that still brings me to the originality. You know, because somebody then would expect that when you go to diaspora, there should be more influence, and they should now be the sauce and the soup, and then you become the seasoning. Because we've seen that,
correct.
You know, we've seen that, you know, irony with most artists, and I think you've observed as well. Someone goes in the West, and they start doing hip hop the West style. So they become the seasoning.
Yeah, I think that's a risk also, and we've discussed it also at length, because we don't want to lose the authenticity, and we don't want to lose the cultural signature. So even when we introduce European elements into the music, it shouldn't water down the Kenyanness of the sound. So like I say, they're the spice, and the sauce should always be authentically Kenyan.
Somebody's watching in Diaspora, and they're thinking, now they're getting tips from you. I'm going to go deeper and now ask you some of the values and things that have kept you in the music industry. We're looking at, first, you mentioned your passion, and you mentioned being original, and all that. And I want to hear much more because there's hard work you put into it. What are the other values that make you you?
First, I always think about it like the stage is not really, when you're on stage, you have the lights, the camera, and all that. But really, the lights, camera, and action are your everyday life. Your life is the stage. And so how you live your life every day matters more than that one moment that you step on stage and all the lights and camera are on you. And even the songs that I sing, they come from my regular life. So it tells you that that's where the action really is happening. And I just have a few moments here when people sit down and listen to me. But generally, it's just me living my life. So my values are that music, no matter how big it grows or no matter how small it stays, it doesn't determine who I am. Because who I am is me living my life every day on a daily basis, facing the same challenges everybody faces, and trying to keep my feet on the ground, because that's what I need to do. And this is my thing, is that this is for me what a star should be. A star, I always imagine the star in the sky. I don't think, if you ask the star, it's all about itself, like, I'm such a star. And a star is just being a star. It's made that way, it's made to shine, So shining should not be something that, you remind everybody about every day when you wake up in the morning, like, hi.
Hi, I'm shining.
It shouldn't be that kind of reaction. It should just be you living your everyday life, and that should shine through anyway, with or without the lights on stage.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. It's quite a modest thing I've heard from you today, and someone would ask, hey, you're the cousin to one of the most popular people. I'm not going to talk about that. For example, they will find out if they will. And you are thriving not only in Kenya, but you are still able to keep yourself humble. And one of the things that I wanted to also understand is, most of the times, like a great shout out to Ayu Bogada, the late. I know you. Do you remember Kosbiro?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And even his music was very calm, and I felt like I want to ask the secret behind the calmness. Okay. In your style of music. It was everyone could relate with that.
Yeah.
And it was such a calm song, yet people feel like music that is loud should be thriving more. What is happening? What is the psychology behind the calmness in your style of music?
I think also it comes with the personality. An artist is just a reflection of them. So if you're a calm person, it just goes through into your music, And if your personality is very extroverted and very jumpy, I guess maybe this is the style of music. Sometimes people conform because of pressure, and you say, okay, if I want my music to go to sell or to be heard on the airwaves, then I must produce a certain kind of sound, and it must be loud, it must have bass, it must be punchy. There's that also.
Okay.
I have also had to consider these things, as an artist, and say, how fast do I want to get to where I want to get, and what's the fastest way there? And sometimes the fastest way is just in tweaking the sound. You say, okay, if I just pump in the bass, pump in the, change the lyrics like this and like that, then I can get where I want to go faster. But I have chosen, it's a conscious decision to take it slower, and to allow my personality to be prominent and not to compromise, because my personality is what contributes to the authenticity. So my feeling is that the calmness is not really, it's not something I'm faking.
It's not like a style of music.
No, it's not a style. It's just me. It's just me. That what you see on stage is just me.
You know, I like this because, you know, there's this one time you do realize it's Gengeton, right?
Yes,
I didn't want to touch on that.
Go ahead.
But someone was asking, what are the possibilities of Gengeton thriving in diaspora?
Yeah.
It's really just personal opinion, and we're not saying it might not thrive.
Exactly.
But there was a question of, if Gengeton was to leave Kenya, or maybe is it being played somewhere outside the world, do you get to hear Kenyan music out there? Like in the style of Gengeton, because, I don't know, what did you say?
My feeling is that when I tune into all different kinds of international radio stations, I only hear what they consider to be authentically African.
Okay.
So you find maybe kora players, people who play traditional instruments, and this is what they would maybe tag as originally African.
Okay.
So these other modern types of music like gengeton, I think would still have, they need to be reintroduced into these foreign markets. And so maybe it's hard to tell if they'll thrive or not because they're not really consumed by an international audience. Not enough, not yet.
All right.
Yeah.
I hope that we're all picking how to package, you know, yourself, because I would want to be an international artist, but they really do not know where to start from.
True.
But from what Nina is telling us, I think you can pick a few tips on how to package yourself as an artist in a manner that you could sell, you know, or thrive or be appreciated.
Correct,
out there. And I think I've picked quite some things from you.
Yeah.
Nina, I don't know if anyone has ever asked you, just because you sing in the Luo, I wouldn't assume your favorite meal is fish.
Oh no.
I don't want to
Maybe
assume.
it is.
If you tell me, well, but I'm really being a good
Actually,
host.
I like fish a lot, to be honest.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe it's something in my DNA. You know, when you're born a Luo, maybe fish is part of the DNA. I don't know, but I like fish a lot, actually.
How do you prefer your fish?
When I was in Kisumu, I tasted fish with peanut sauce. And I'm like, I'm never looking back.
Yeah?
That was it for me. I'm like, this fish with peanut sauce is what I needed my whole life, and I never found it.
Where have you been?
Where have you been? Where have you been?
So anyway, she's also a foodie. I just pulled that on. No, she loves fish. Whether she's a foodie or not, let me know at the in the comment section. We're looking at Nina. You're doing your tour, the international tour. Please tell us about it, because some of your fans probably didn't keep tabs with that. But the fact that you're moving, you know, overseas to Germany, you know, we want to know, you know, what you've planned out for this.
Yeah, so let's just say maybe it's like a sequel of performances that has been unfolding from Nairobi. I started in Nairobi and Kisumu in the months of March and April. Yeah. And so all along there's been plans for me to go to Germany. I have been on tour last year and it was a successful tour. It was my first tour, actually. My first own tour. I mean, I've been on tour to the US before, but that was a different context. Yeah. So my first tour as an artist was last year, and it was in Germany and Austria. And so because it was a successful and very pleasant experience, we want to recapture that this year. And so I go on tour in July and August, and this time it's predominantly in Germany, and we do different towns around the country for a month and a half.
For a month and a half of nothing but good music and Nina God's voice. My goodness, do we get to stream this?
Well, it's possible, you know. We're still in the stage where we're looking at the possibilities of how we can showcase this even broader and how we can use digital media even better. So why not? Why not?
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at, you know, people are now going to be asking that, Nina, I hope your music doesn't stop here, because what you've told us is you began quite some time ago. You've been able to stand the test of time, moving with the changing times. Yeah. You know how it happens with artists.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a way you give up along the way, and something has kept you firm, and I'm just curious.
My belief, you know, I started my journey in music when I was a child. I strongly believe that's where my journey started.
The foundation.
Yeah, because when I think about myself in my past as a child, I always wanted to do music. I mean, at that time I wanted to play the piano, and I started as learning the piano and then transitioned into the guitar. But what keeps me here is that childlike childness. I think the memory of myself as a child and carrying that spark into my adulthood, you know. And I think when I look at the impact that the music has even more recently, it gives me the impetus to keep going, you know, to carry that spark and keep shining it brighter and brighter.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you remind me of this statement, remember why you started. Have you ever had that before?
Of course.
Remember why you started?
Yeah, remember why you started.
And I don't know how many of us forget, you know, the vision we had and the mission and the objective. We get subjected and conform and compromise. And today it's all about, you know, being authentic in diaspora and thriving, African music thriving in diaspora. And, you know, Goat is still here. I wanted to close the show, but I'm told people still want to see more of her smile.
Oh, nice.
So I'll take a short breather. We'll be right back. You are watching Sanachat.
The future of money is simple, like unlocking possibilities with a smile. And having the world in the palm of your hand. It's the ability to touch many lives at the same time and turn your dreams into reality. It's forgetting and still remembering. Simple is having everything that you love in one place. From the ticket to your next meal, to your ticket to the next holiday. It's an easy way to ask for a boost when you're low. And keeping track of everything on the go. The future of money is simple, and it's here. Download the new M-Pesa app today.
Get a chance to wake up as a tourist as you view Mount Kenya every day by buying a plot of land at Wema Gardens, Naru Moru. At only 400 meters off tarmac, this is the right place to build your dream home, cottages or holiday homes. You can also buy this property to give to your children as a special inheritance. Water and electricity are in the vicinity, while neighbors are already building their homes. These plots are specially ready for you with title deeds scheduled to be out in 6 months. Buy a 50 by 100 plot of land at Wema Gardens for only 399,000 Kenya shillings. You can also pay for your plot through our friendly one-year installments plan.
Career Guide.
Be your own cheerleader. Root for yourself. If you aren't your own biggest fan, who will be? Take note of and pride in your successes and positive attributes. Don't wait for someone else to tell you, job well done. Reflecting on your achievements will spur you on to accomplish even greater ones.
Career Guide.
Pastors, seminary students, and congregation members who are attending Shincheonji Online Seminar, Testimony on the Revelation of the Old and New Testaments by Chapter, it is nice to meet you. My name is Tan Youngjin, and I'll be your host today.
Ngoja, hadi tusipigie polisi. Sasa wanataka tufanye aje basi? Hadi pesa ngapi? Unawacha ujinga, hii ni brush ya kusugua choo.
Na si ndio inang'arisha vizuri. Unajua tu vizuri mikono tutaja.
Kwani utakuta ujinga mpaka lini? Hii ni brush ya kusugua choo.
Sasa umesemaje? Si ungesema tu kama utaki.
Yaani umeamua kulala uchi?
Sasa kama hakuna ile nguo inanitosha unataka nifanye?
Because you are fat.
Sasa ukiongelea mimi ati fat. Na Julie tutasemaje? Yes, I pap. Wa?
Walisema hataki muziki, wengine wanasema muziki na wapa riziki. Labda wewe pia unatamani tu muziki, muziki ya mashairi, methali za muziki. Oh, muziki ya asali, oh, muziki maridadi, oh, muziki
My goodness, I feel like saying Tibu. I don't even know where that is coming from, but I just feel like saying Nina Tibu. My goodness, what a band! You know, what a band! That's an amazing, amazing song. It just to, wait, is that one of your first?
This video we've just seen is a compilation of different songs. So they're edited, but it captures the songs that we performed on stage while I was on tour last year. And it captures the mood that we want to recreate this year as we go on tour again.
You're such a vibe, and I'm thinking guys who are watching in Diaspora, like, how then can we miss that?
They shouldn't.
They shouldn't. If I could come, I would, because that's such a vibe. And of course, one thing that I wanted to ask you, who dresses you? Because that kind of style you have every other time. Do you dress yourself?
I do, actually. You know what's interesting is when I started my career, I kind of was guessing. It's, you know, these days people have stylists and things like that. But the reason why I haven't engaged a stylist is because I enjoy dressing myself. It's fun for me, you know, so it's also creative, you know, when I have to be the one to think, what do I want to look like, how do I want to dress? So it's not about the music per se, it's about what I want to wear.
Okay.
But being the musician, I feel that that creative energy is still there, and I want it to connect also.
So Nina, you're just a creative?
Maybe.
Maybe
I can make your dresses also. 10 years from now, I'll be tailoring people's
clothes. Who knows?
Clothes.
And what you said when we started is, even for your daughter, she says, I'm not a musician yet, and we cannot tell. And you said there's something about wanting to be someone. Sometimes it persists. And then like you wanted to always be a singer, and then it bloomed.
Exactly.
So we never know if you're going to be designing as.
Yeah, you never know. And it's fun, you know, art should always be fun. And why I allow myself to dress myself is because it allows me just to be like a child. Like, it's never that serious. So it allows me to look at colors and patterns and things like that without thinking, am I a professional at this? What image, you know, just being easy with creating something that even you're not an expert in, you know, just being like a child.
And you've talked about being like a child so many times. I don't know if you picked that. I think it's the most calm places to be at. Because children are not very, you know, they're not always scared of making mistakes. They're very easy beings. And I think it's quite an outstanding, you know, value you have. I'm curious about, you know, your preference for live bands.
Like a live band I prefer in Kenya or
No, your performances, most of them that we have seen,
yeah.
you're recording live. I don't know if you've had studio sessions. Are you a recording artist, or you're just a performing artist?
Both.
Or you're both?
I am both.
And you have a preference?
I prefer live music. I always have, you know. I think just like making cloth, you know, or dresses, sometimes you want to mix fabrics. You want to mix cotton with silk or whatever. And I find that in live music, this is where I can do that best. You know, I can decide these instruments at this moment fuse best with this song. The creative process is broader when you do it live, I feel, than when you go into a studio and just pick things on the computer, you know, and sample them and then fix them into the song. And then there's also the human interaction that comes with it, you know, that you can't get on the computer. When I make live music, it's human beings that play these instruments.
And you connect with them.
There are different personalities, and also on stage they add different things to the music. Their personalities shine through their music as well. So I would never trade live music for anything. It comes through even in the recordings.
It does.
You hear it, yeah.
And one thing that you mentioned is that even the other people add, you know, the spice we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
On live performance. But I have been curious, because I'm not an artist like you, and I know a lot of Kenyans always ask, like, when you guys go live, especially, you know, in platforms like yours. There are times that you just come up with something that you hadn't really planned to. Like, Sukuma. Are this all rehearsed?
Yeah,
or sometimes it's just...
it's both. You have artists who are able to just go on stage and invent things as they go and allow the spontaneity to reign. But also, it's possible I could do this, but I think, like, for instance, when I have a big band, things have to be coordinated, you know. I can't just go there with surprise factor after another surprise factor. So we kind of have to coordinate the scene and how we want it to look, and everyone just delivers based on the text, let's say.
I like that. You know, I'm doing this also very intentionally for artists that have the creative aspect like yours. They are naturals, and they love, you know, the African aspect, but they've always thought, I need to sit down on this because I might probably never put food on the table. And I want to hear your encouraging segment, you know, or sentiments rather, on this. Could be some young girl who, yes, I admire Susan Owi, I've said that a lot. But, you know, I cannot come out with this because in this day and era and age, probably not.
I think people must be realistic also, that it's not a walk in the park. It's not that you you choose music on Monday and on Sunday you're a gazillionaire. That certainly won't happen. It's just a one day at a time, long road, you know, to success. And so the potholes in this road are that, especially in Kenya, the systems are weak, I must say. As much as we are trying to strengthen them, it's going to take some more time and it's going to take some more effort. It's going to take some more support in order to make this a solid system like in other countries. The other potholes are things like corruption. You know, if a musician makes money and they never really get the money. It's interesting, like one of the channels that I'm on, I don't want to mention any names. Sure. I've been on different platforms in Kenya that are supposed to collect royalties. Royalties are the income that artists get from airplay or from their records. And on one channel, after maybe 3 years, I got 200 shillings or something like that, and I was like, okay. And then this year, after being a whole year on their platform, I got 14 shillings. You know what I mean? So at some point, you're like, this cannot work. You cannot even, you can't earn a living from music, at least not in this country. Okay. The tricks are that maybe you can now be on digital platforms that allow you to get your royalties, and that works for me very well. As when I get more airplay online, I get more income. So this is a channel that people can explore. And of course, if you're making music abroad, abroad maybe the systems are more solid than here. I'm not advocating for people to run away from their country. Absolutely not. Yeah. But the truth is, if you're an artist today, this is the challenge, is that you'll earn 14 shillings every year. So you have to make choices. Are we talking about 14? Not 14 million. You know, I'm trying to put this together and I'm imagining... It is even laughable. It is. It is, like with all the effort and energy you put into making a career, that someone gives you 14 shillings after 365 days of 2021. I got 14 shillings. I was insulted, to say the least. But I take it in good stride, and I realize the battle is not just mine. I see other artists, Sauti Sol, and other people who vocalize this. I think Calligraph joins? Yeah, Calligraph as well. So we as artists, we try and come together. Right now, MCSK has put in a new CEO. All right. Yes. Ezekiel Mutua, who was also in the film. And so we hope that he will do his duties dutifully, and that hopefully us musicians can have money in our pockets. Yeah. And you just remind me of one Dan Aseda. Today, I'm giving all shout outs to, you know, all those artists who have been able to bring out, you know, our Kenyan authenticity. And this one song, I don't know if you know it. I'm just waiting for her reaction. If she doesn't, I'll just be like, okay. She covered a lot with her smile. Aneyo, baby girl, aneyo. Dan. I know Dan's songs, by the way. Dan, someone here, yes? I know a lot of his songs, but Dan is my friend as well. Okay. So I know a lot of his songs. This must be a new one. Oh, no, it's a very old one. It's like one of the oldest. No way. You need to look him out on YouTube. Yeah. Awinji Nyamama, Awinjo Duondi Kalunga. Yeah. That is one of his oldest songs. You see the video and you're like, Dan, can I really play that on air right now? Yeah, okay. But I want to appreciate that such songs still get played. Like you said, what does it take for a song to stand the test of time? When you started speaking, you said, music can live through the years. But there's some songs, really, that we forget. Yanina Skate was a hit. That doesn't happen much with your type of music. I think, you know, the people who listen to my music are, let's say, ardent fans, people who know my music on my Facebook, and they keep tabs of what I'm doing. So I'm grateful to them, because they're the ones who continue to carry this light for me. You know, when I'm not there, they will continue if they're still that enthusiastic about the music. So I think in essence, music lives on. If the artist is alive or dead, music lives on through the fans of the music. Absolutely. Because they're the ones now who become the flag bearers for this artist. You know, you have reminded me something that happened with one lady I celebrated for a long time, Lauryn Hill. Yes. And she strumming my pain with his fingers. And she was a vibe, you know, Sister Act. And then that connection with the fans really means a lot from her story and how you have put it. It's a great shout out to Lauryn Hill. But she's another element of music that I can relate to with. Yeah, you know, true. How her music has
stood the, the test of time and is living through the times. And I want to appreciate you for being here.
Thank you.
I wanted her to sing, guys. I have tried my best. But she has said she will come back with her guitar.
Yeah, maybe I'm not a morning singer. I could sing for you in the afternoon, if you have a show in the afternoon.
That's how you're going to do, right?
Call me back at 2 p.m. and we can have a show.
I can. Mr. Director, isn't this possible? We can just hack it. This is Look Up TV. It's just a matter of call Nina. We are live again for the afternoon drift. But Nina, you're such a vibe.
Thank you.
And I wanted to, now you've done the piano, you've done the guitar, you really wanted to learn a lot of music. Is there any other guitar, any other instrument that you play? Because I've seen a lot of you on the guitar.
Yeah.
Is there something we don't see out here?
No, I mean, even the piano people don't really see me play.
Okay.
Because I don't really play.
You love the
guitar. That's logic. If I don't play, they don't see me playing. But I play the guitar because it's maybe out of convenience to some degree. It's easy to carry, and a lot of the sound that comes from the guitar feels authentically African. The piano is a bit heavier, and it needs a lot more thought on how to make this African.
Okay.
But, you know, people have been urging me to play the nyatiti. I don't.
But you look good on it, I'm just saying.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I can take pictures with it, so at the moment. Selfies with the nyatiti, maybe, but playing it, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
What if I join the crew that says try?
Yeah, I would like to. I mean, I do take some tunes, very little on my guitar, and try to modify them.
It's one of, they're kind of relatives, I would say, cousins, nyatiti and guitar.
Yes, they both have strings, let's say, so it's easier to translate sounds from the nyatiti into the guitar. And yeah, with just some creativity, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
I like how she, puts that, I could be a designer, who knows? Anything is possible. We wouldn't tell yet. Leaving us all in that mode of, what's yet to come out of Nina Ogot in the next few days? But Nina, you have been quite a beautiful, guest today.
Thank you.
And I want to close the Sana chat. But one thing that you've also shared is how encouraging it is that the people in the West, even though they do not understand what you sing for the longest time, still enjoyed the melody in the African, music that you produce. And that for me, I just felt we need to celebrate all the artists, especially Kenyan artists who thrive in diaspora. We have heard of issues of racism, but the fact that the music could give you the calm home away from home, for example, and allow people's souls to relate more than the skin, I think that did stand out for us right here on #TheMorningDrift. Do you want to try co-hosting?
Yeah, sure.
So you can,
sounds good.
Yeah, so that we can close this together.
Okay.
So it's going to be a split screen, I believe.
Okay.
And that there is going to be your camera.
Okay.
And this will be mine. And I'll wait for your lead.
Okay.
We're closing the show, and you're leading. Look, you're looking at me.
Oh, me too.
And you see how hard it is to be a journalist?
Okay, so...
All right, so that's your camera.
All right.
And you lead me on how we close the show.
Okay, so it's been a wonderful morning. Thank you so much, Anki. Thank you to the people, the viewers watching, and I hoped that you will join us again tomorrow morning for another fabulous show. And Anki, thank you so much.
And now I want to appreciate my quote-unquote co-host for now for being strong enough and firm enough and representing not only African but the African women, me included. Remember, tomorrow is Mother's Day. No, not tomorrow, Sunday. DJ, all right, Sunday is Mother's Day. It's because I'm so excited. And I just wanted to, ask Nina if she'd just hum the mama song. Or sing it.
Nakupenda mama we, nadhani watambua. Sina mengi ya kusema, ona ninavyocheka. Ulivyo kunilelea, na mahaba kunipa. Hakuna anayeweza ulofanya kuiga. That's the best I can do this morning. Thank you.
High five. Guys, remember to show some love to Nina Ogot, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all social media platforms. You can stream her music. You can support her if you're in Germany. Auntie Lucy, Auntie Vicky, you know, go out there, and when she gets to that in Germany, support your own and show some love. But for now, all moms, by the way, you heard that song. It was a special one from Nina Good. Until, you know, Monday. Yeah, until Monday. I'm signing out the Sana chat, but I'm coming in to dance with DJ One shortly. Nakupenda mama, Jesus.
And band. Welcome.
Muziki ya mashairi, methali za muziki. Oh, muziki ya asali, adabu, tabasamu. Saa zingine maisha karabu, tabasamu. Tusiwe na huzuni, sikiza wenzangu. Oh, wimba tabasamu, 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 tabasamu. We got tabasamu.
Are you coming home to ride?